Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the monastery, the open bar of the internet, the world's greatest shit show, and the place where we, the good brothers and sisters of this most holy of temples, seek enlightenment through the drunkest, craziest, and most batshit ways possible. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have a newcomer into the temple. Coming to us from the wonderful world of newborn games, who has previously graced this temple a couple times, and making his debut in the hallowed halls. I do apologize because I'm gonna butcher pronunciation, but Máquina, the RPG, the RPG machine. How you doing today, man?
Hello, great Mildred the monk. I quite enjoy this monastery of yours, and
Mhm.
your pronunciation of my name was quite right.
Mhm.
Since I'm a machine, I won't be drinking booze as you, but I'll go with a lubricant of sorts if you serve in this
I
monastery.
Yeah, I do have that. I've had machines as guests before. I usually tell that I
Okay.
usually tell them the lubricant is fine. Just don't touch the stash in the back because most people do only go through one shot of it before they're out. Um,
Okay,
because
I won't be touching.
yeah, because everyone forgets that that monks do brew their own beer. Like there's whole orders of monks that do that. Like the Trappists over in
Uh,
Belgium, and I think there's a few monasteries in Tibet that do the same.
well, most monasteries here in the Máquina country,
Hmm.
that is Portugal, um, do I don't know if they do what they brew here, but I know they're known to do a lot of sweet cakes, and each monastery has its own sweet specialty. So
Hmm.
I think there might be some interesting thing to say about the monasteries and what their specialties are. I
Hmm.
guess each monastery has its own specialty. So some might be drinks, but I guess others might have some kind of recipes.
Hmm.
In Portugal, is a lot of the monasteries have specific sweets
Hmm. Oh yeah.
like cakes and biscuits and whatever.
Hmm. So it's a bit of a tradition to go into the humble beginnings of a sort.
Mhm.
So with that in mind, I'd like you to walk me through your introduction to role-playing games and what made it stick.
Okay, so I was a kid back in the 90s, and I started with those green books. Well, at least in Portugal, they were green. Those from Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, those fighting fantasy.
Yep, Fighting
And
Fantasy, Deathtrap Dungeon, the game books.
sure, all of it, all of it. So not quite TTRPGs, but they have a lot of it in the DNA.
Hmm.
Um, so I got fascinated by it. I was just a little kid. Of course, I always read comic books and adventure books, and then I stumbled into
Hmm.
into fighting fantasy. Got fascinated by it, and um, a classmate saw me with. It wasn't Death Dungeon. It's the Snow. I don't know the original name. It's the one with the Snow Witch. I think it's the Snow Witch, actually.
Hmm.
Let me search. You know the one, the Snow Witch fighting fantasy. Let me see if it's. Well, I think it's the Snow Witch. Oh,
Caverns
Caverns
of
of
the
the
Snow
Snow
Witch,
Witch.
which
Yes,
was
that's
in
the
the
one. That's
Fighting
the first.
Fantasy series.
Was
Hmm.
wasn't.
It was.
Well, of course it was. It was number nine, at least in Portugal. I don't know if the original order, but it was. Well, it's the first one I got. I knew it wasn't the first one in the series, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not like they're linked all that much. So it wouldn't matter which one would you start, but that's one I got it on my birthday or Christmas
Mm-hmm.
or something. So my classmate told me, "Oh, that's crap. I have this, this is like a Buffon of sorts. So it's always whatever he had was always better than mine." So he bragged about D&D, and I never heard of it, but he bragged so much that I was starting. I was starting you know um, to see where I could get it. But even nowadays, there are very few hobby shops, where you get a TTRPG here in Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, was something of a legend. It's not like you'd get it in every shopping center or something. No, no, no. It's very difficult to find. And he had this red box because um, his dad visited the US a lot of times in business trips, and I think he got him a red box from a visit to US. So it's not like he has purchased in Portugal. Even so, I was searching. So I find this shady store. It's like I said, there wasn't competition, so the very few shops that would sell it would look like warehouses run by um, managed by these strange geeky guys twice my age, and I was afraid of being kidnapped, and even so, but I went anyways to buy this mythical D&D red box, but they were already sold out. So I was like with $50 or so in my pocket, and I asked, well, I didn't came here for nothing, so you must have something for me. So they showed me vampire, werewolf, but
Mm-hmm.
since I was in that state of mind that I wanted fantasy, medieval fantasy, and they show me Ars Magica,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't like quite convinced, and it was not a box, it was a book, a big book, 300-page book. So it's not like I was all that committed to read so much pages. But then they show this couple of pages. I don't know if you're familiar with Ars Magica, but
Oh
there's
yeah.
this couple of pages where you see the hands doing the gestures and the words in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I think so. This is what magic looks like in a TTRPG. So I didn't know. I actually took for granted that this was the standard. I didn't know that it was setting the bar way high.
Mm-hmm.
So whoa, this is whoa. So you do these gestures with the hand. You spell these words in Latin, and you cast the spells. Oh my God! And then they show me. So I wanted to be sure. So
Mm-hmm.
they show me also werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
At the time they had a werewolf Wild West.
Yep.
And I was quite impressed. I loved the art. And in an alternate timeline, a Máquina bought that werewolf, because I was so close to buy it. And it stuck in my head, that werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
But no, in this timeline, I bought the Ars Magica,
Mm-hmm.
and the more I read it, the more I fell in love with that dark, creaky fantasy. So it changed a lot the way I see fantasy. No more I wanted like this high fantasy. I want this gritty, dark fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's then for my standard. And then, like 10 years later, came D&D third edition, and then they said, I see this advertise August 2000, time to play. and I thought, oh boy, now I'm going to buy D&D. No, so if Ars Magica had this amazing spell casting system, whoa, D&D will crush it. And then I bought it when I saw these spell slots. I mean, I was like, so this shit is D&D. So spell slots. I mean, what the hell? So you cast one spell and that's it, because that's what you do in
Yep.
level 1. So I was so disappointed. Of course, I saw the system was very robust. Of course, it was cool to have a book full of monsters, so you can just draw a monster to your party, to your players, and it's very easy to manage adventures for D&D. If you're not inspired, you just you see some pages with the monsters, you pick one, and see if it sets against the party level, and you come up with a story around that monster. So it's actually quite easy, and I saw a lot of advantages running D&D against Ars Magica that required a lot more research and a lot more investment, but I was disappointing for the spellcasting mechanics. So it's funny when your first game actually leaves a big mark in you, sets a standard that anything you get after it will always have to match it.
Yep.
Somehow will always be compared to it. It might even be better. Of course, I've found games better than Ars Magic, of course, but I always compare to it. It's very difficult for me to not do so. And around the time that I bought Ars Magica. At the same time, in the meantime, I tried out Fighting Fantasy, and before getting Ars Magica, I felt this urge to run D&D without having D&D. So I came up with rules that were somewhat similar to Fighting Fantasy, to D6 system of sorts. So I invented a system. So I think I run games as long as I invented rules. So, and most of the games I've run, I hack a lot of it. So, except Ars Magic,
Yep.
all of its rules. So then, and that's it. And so that was part of the path. But recently, in the last 3 years, me and a couple of friends created newborn games to launch our own games, because publishers in Portugal don't do TTRPGs. So most of the game designers in Portugal are indies. They publish their own games like in digital versions. The biggest one would be Games Omnivorous, but it's an exception. It's not like it's like an utopia of sorts, being like, because it's not accessible to the everyday game designer, Portuguese game designer. So and we respect them a lot. We look up to them, and but we try to do our thing in a smaller scale, or maybe a more indie approach. And since we couldn't find anyone to publish our games, and because actually the publishers in Portugal aren't prepared for the TTRPG markets, even though they are prepared, or at least invest in fantasy teams, but promoting Portuguese authors without taking advantage of them. So we decided, okay, let's try our games. So the first game was Demon Ninja. You already interviewed M Solid a couple years ago. And we started with Demon Ninja because it was already written, had all the art, had all the layout done, and we thought, well, if we can't print a game that's already done, I think we should pack and move on because it's the easiest thing to do. Most of the job is done, but
Hmm. I can
you go
get
to
that.
the printer.
Yeah.
And well, it turned out very well. And
Hmm.
the one in the last year with Asilo, you interviewed Daniel
Yep.
about Asilo, turned out okay as well. No, it's my turn. So now I've been acting as a producer and manager for the previous authors, and so we're a small team. And now I'm as an author myself, as a TTRPG designer for my game. And let's see how it turns out. It won't be easy. Things are very difficult this year for a lot of things. Some of them are not even related to the game itself. There's this socio-political global thing happening that it might condition a lot of what's going to happen regarding our potential backers and regarding how we ship things. And
Hmm.
well, but that's a whole other team. So,
Yeah.
but my story is a bit like that.
Hmm.
Of course, I ran a lot of other games, but that was the biggest milestones, I guess.
Oh yeah. Now, with with Silent Lake, you did cite a few inspirations, um, bringing up things like Twin Peaks, as well as True Detective, Mayor of Easttown, The Killing, Naked Lunch. I am curious if the first two Silent Hill games was ever brought up as as a potential touchstone for this sort of thing, or even something like Deadly Premonition.
Um, well, no, not quite. I do know quite well
Hmm.
Silent Hill 1, 2, 3. I played almost all of them,
Hmm.
but I wasn't inspired by them. I understand the comparison because those games take inspiration in the same roots Silent Lake takes its inspirations.
Yeah.
That is Twin Peaks. So since Silent Hill and Silent Lake both draw inspiration from Twin Peaks,
Hmm.
I guess it's written in the DNA. But I wasn't actually inspired by Silent Hill
Yeah.
in any way, at least directly. So the common themes is because both draw inspiration from the same sources.
Yeah.
More of this.
Even so,
It's not like I didn't.
even so, I wouldn't be opposed to someone running this using Yamaoka's mu musical contributions for setting the tone.
Of course not. Of course, it would be appropriate. I'm not like I said. It's not like I don't take inspirations in video games,
Hmm.
but it's just it wasn't the case. But I perfectly understand if people think that way because there are a lot of similarities in tone, and of course, like Silent Hill music is the greatest.
Hmm.
I search for music inspiration. I actually was inspired by other things as well, but
Hmm.
it could be Silent Hill's. Of course, it could be Silent Hill's original score.
Hmm.
But I was for music. I know a lot of music. I study in a musical school, so music school in a it's my college degree. So I'm
Hmm.
just one discipline to go to end my course. So know a lot of music, and my inspirations was like uh, like a lot of classical music, but psychedelic rock, grunge,
Hmm.
of course, because the game takes place in the 90s, and even some post-grunge aesthetics,
Hmm.
because I love decay and comfort at the same time. So um, there are a lot of this post-grunge influence in
Hmm.
music, and when I run my own sessions, the music I play, I try to not put Twin Peaks or Silent Hill because it transports you too much for those settings. It's like you running like a sci-fi
Hmm.
session and put like Star Wars soundtrack. It's a bit like that. It's way too strong. So
Yeah.
I usually, but I use uh, the one use Deadly Premonition soundtrack is a good one. It's
Hmm.
not so so famous, but it's as good as the other two. Sometimes I use Angelo Badalamenti's
Hmm.
less known songs, the composer from Twin Peaks,
Hmm.
because you will recognize the same instrumentation and this tendency to produce such beautiful and melancholic melodies at the same time. But sometimes I pick songs from him, not Twin Peaks, and
I could also
so
see
my
using
inspiration.
I could also see using some of the works of Philip Glass.
I'm not connecting the name Philip. You said
Philip
Philip
Glass. He
Glass. Okay.
I mostly know a lot of people who know him primarily know him for his work on the Katsi trilogy, um, especially Koyaanisqatsi. But
Okay, I don't know this one. Maybe I have already heard, but
mhm,
I'm not connecting the name to anything. But
yeah,
I'll search. I'll search, of course. It interests me a lot to
mhm,
know these more obscure composers and everyone who tries to produce music that's not for dancing, but to be uh, deep in its
yeah,
in this trance-like state of mind. It's not like I don't. It's not like I despise dance music or anything. Not like that. Okay,
mhm,
but there are a time for everything. So if I want to party, I want to party. But when I want to write, draw inspiration for something,
mhm,
I usually, of course, I'll search something deeper.
yeah,
And I'll what do you recommend from this composer? Portrait trilogy, you're saying?
yeah. The main one to look up because that was where he really made his name was Koyaanisqatsi. Um,
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was searching about him. Yeah, sure, sure. I'll
mhm,
keep this. I'll save this tab in my
yeah,
browser. I'll search for his music afterwards. It interests me a lot, of course,
mhm, yeah,
and I'll search for it. Thank you, thank you.
mhm,
So, yeah, I love when I find these new recommendations.
yeah. Now, something I do find interesting is the choice to go with a full-on playing card setup, which
Hmm.
even even now the kind of RPGs that use playing cards instead of dice it's still rare. So I'm
It
curious
is, it is.
what led you to use a playing card deck as your primary resolution system.
Hmm. Of course, cards have a lot of advantages compared to dice, and
Hmm.
of course they pose a lot of difficulties when you design a game. Not playing a game, it's just open options, but to design a game, it's way easier to design a game based on dice. So I don't recommend design a game with cards unless you know what you're doing and you have a good reason to do so. Uh, my game only requires traditional cards, and you don't use all of them. You take out the face cards. You have just the cards ace to 10 and a couple of jokers that are called tulpa in my game. So you have 42 cards.
Mm-hmm.
I also designed um, a specific deck, thematic deck, but it's just aesthetic. So instead of I don't know if you can see it in my backer kit of the project.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, instead of the diamonds, you have town. So, red houses, the symbol of the town. Instead of clubs, you have these trees. So it represents the woods. Instead of spades, you have these black cards with a white moon and the white stars. So
Mm-hmm.
it represents the night.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of hearts, you have these blue cards with a red sun and white clouds. It represents the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very reminiscent of the traditional playing cards, but it has a thematic flavor in you. And so when you and it is related to a lot of mechanics. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Playing cards give me a lot of inspiration and a lot of options, but introduced a lot of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was inspired by one scene in Twin Peaks. One scene made me do my game. Just one scene. And I watch it and then I came up with it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I must say, I wasn't really all that decided to do a new game. Me and my brother were we were rewatching Twin Peaks, and there's this episode. I don't recall quite the one, but it had my favorite character is Audrey Horne, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like Laura Palmer's rival, and she's in that in that brothel, and she's
Mm-hmm.
wearing a mask. She's in a bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and because she's infiltrated to find out more, and she infiltrated like a new girl working there,
Mm-hmm.
and then she finds out that her dad frequents that place. Is actually a patron of that place. So, and he hears about the new girl, but he doesn't know it's her own daughter. And then he goes up to the room. She puts on the mask, and he feels fascinated with this new girl, with this masked new girl, without know it's her own daughter. And he tries to take her mask out, and she tries to dodge him, and then he thinks that she's like teasing him or so. This is before Cooper appears and knocks out
Mm-hmm.
her dad. But that moment when he tries to see behind the mask, tries to seduce the girl, and she tries to avoid her own dad because she isn't supposed to be there. How would she explain that she's working there? And it's actually just a disguise. So she finds out more about what happened to Laura Palmer. So it was very far fetched. Her dad wouldn't never believe it. And then my brother said, because we play a lot together, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't put that scene on Vampire. We play a lot of Vampire. When he says this, he's teasing me to put a similar scene on Vampire. Okay, oh, you couldn't put that on Vampire. And I said, well, I actually could, but it would be a waste of an idea because you don't have mechanics to run this. What do you do? A composure check. What you do? It would be more interesting. And then I was thinking about mouse guard. It would be something like in the lines of mouse guard. Using
Mm-hmm.
that system, I was like thinking hacking defense,
It's
fend,
it's funny you mentioned
maneuver.
Mouse Guard because I'm still salty that we didn't get that movie. Even after all these years, I'm still salty.
Ye- yeah, but it should be done right.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want like a 3D movie or something. I like actually an animation movie with with the same drawing style of the comic books, and I love Mouseguard. I think it's I love Mouseguard, not only the collection but also the TTRPG, and because I think the TT the TTRPG is one of the best things ever done, because it replicates so well what happens in the comics, but so well. But if every game portraying a franchise of sorts would replicate what happens in to the game session, as
Right.
well as Mouseguard TTRPG does against its comic book, it
Mm-hmm.
would be amazing. And so
Yep.
I hope there's a movie of Mouseguard, and I hope there's animated by David Peterson, because I think it's the only way it would be done. I would be very sad if they would do like a 3D animation. Nothing against 3D animation, but it's not the mouse guard I like to watch.
Though
So and then
getting back to the
sorry.
getting back to the heart of the
Sure, sure,
matter. So
sure.
a large amount
That,
of Silent Lake is going to be tied to interaction with NPCs, and
sure.
having a whole host of them within the full book. Do you plan on putting in some guidances to help smooth that along, since the GM is going to have to make a large amount of them that play off of the PCs that are built?
Um, yes, but no. I mean, what you read was Dusk's Embrace. That's
Mm-hmm.
a demo, and it's very straightforward. It's not like very open, because it's for you to learn the mechanics, for you to learn the types of the scenes, etc., etc. But in the full game, the players, you know, they dominate a lot of the game. So each player, in her own turn, will choose the character. The character she'll be visiting,
Mm-hmm.
the what type of scene and the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and the GM, that here is called the director, will likely improvise within this frame set by the player. But the book will provide suggestion of how to run that character, because Silent Lake is meant to be played like replayable one shot. Of course, you can take a slower pace and divide into some sessions, but it's not a long campaign. No, not like that. It's actually very different from other games. It's like meant for a one shot, but a replayable one. So you
An
may have
episode.
a different filler. You can run as an episode, but you can. I mean, when you play Clue,
Mm-hmm.
you play the same game, but the killer is a different person. You never know who is, where the victim was killed, what weapon did the killer used, right? So
Yeah.
it is one of the inspirations of Silent Lake is Clue.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know who the killer is. So you play
Yeah.
you replay this game a lot of times. You don't get to interact with all the places and NPCs, because you don't have time to do all of it. So, and
Mm-hmm.
it's by design to make you, if you want to replay the game, there's always something new. But
Yeah.
I provided as well options to run a campaign, but we'll discuss it later
Mm-hmm.
if you want. But as for the GM, you, in this case, the director, of course, you have, because you usually have a motive. So so you know what that character could that character is a suspect, and a suggestion of where you can find that character. But of course, the player will always find the suspect wherever she wants to, because it's a player's choice. Okay, so the player gets to choose, because the
Mm-hmm.
player builds up the story, and the GM reacts as opposite of other games. But yeah, you can improvise, and it's not set in stone. Not because of my laziness, not really because I write a lot, but because I think it's funnier this way. So
Yeah.
the system has a lot of mechanical teeth, but gives leaves a lot of room for you to improvise.
Hmm.
Gives you structure and you use what you want flavor wise. But mechanically, it's very decisive in what it does.
Hmm. Uh, what instantly comes to mind when you say that is the tiers and tent poles approach that was mentioned with the structure of gargoyles, uh, the cartoon from the 90s, where there were certain bullet points that had to be hit, but there were in betweens where there was a lot of wiggle room. That's a vast simplification of the concept. It was basically a compromise because they had a story they wanted to tell, but networks at the time hated serialization.
Mhm.
Uh, so they're like, okay, you
I,
can
um,
put
I
these orders in, you can put these episodes in any order, but they have to be between these specific ones.
um, well, there are two kinds of experience in Silent Lake. So
Hmm.
you have the main game, and then you have the scenarios.
Yep.
The main game comes in the core book that will
Hmm.
be produced if we will be successful in the crowdfunding. And it's always the story of this girl, Deirdre, that's killed. So she's the equivalent of Laura Palmer in my
Hmm.
game. And and the players do one of the people of the town. So there are 24 to choose from. You do one of those characters, and they represent archetypes. So you have the boyfriend, you have the rival, you have the hotelier, so
Hmm.
the owner of the hotel. So you have this lover, this motor boy. You have all of these archetypes you find in Twin Peaks,
Hmm.
and you have 3 days to find a killer, and you have these scenes where you meet other NPCs, and you're eliminating the suspects. You're in each scene you potentially uncover why this person is innocent, why this one
Hmm.
is innocent. Mathematically, it's all random. The killer is randomly drawn from
Hmm.
um, from the suspects. I use cards, so there's
Hmm.
a specific cards for suspects, and it's put in an envelope where you write killer. Not even the director knows who the
Hmm.
killer is. Okay, and the other ones are put in a deck, and each time you're successful in one scene, you draw a card from that deck, and you know, okay, this person is innocent. So like I
Hmm.
said, it's very similar to Clue. So mechanically it's designed like that. So you have like these things to uncover it, but narrative wise, it's something like you decide with the players why is that, why that makes sense or why it doesn't make sense. It's not like so it's I don't ask people to abandon logic here, but
Hmm.
I ask them what logic is for here. So instead of what happened, is more like what this means to you. So though it's not like this proves X, it's more like this hurts, this comforts,
Hmm.
and you're trying and you do this scene by scene, and then I think I got lost in the answer what you were asking. So
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I'm
but
so sorry. I think
to
I forgot lost the
yeah
focus. Sorry.
to get things a bit back on the rails, based on what you had described about how not even the GM knows who the killer is. Uh,
Mhm.
is this a game that could be played GM-less?
Um, Most of it could. but it has a few surprises in it, and I don't want to spoil it. But let's say there are a few surprise scenes in the game.
Mm-hmm.
In order to work, they require the director. So how this works? You as a player decide like 80% of the game, and the director reacts to it. But there are certain surprise scenes where you don't have the control of it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes more traditional, like you see in other games. So what is traditional in our games is an exception in Silent Lake. These surprise scenes are run by the director, and your PC reacts to it. It uses the same mechanics, but the approach is different. So anyone who watched Twin Peaks knows there's this quiet little town, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very cozy, and then there's this surprise, this plot twist where you're shown another side of Twin Peaks, where logic doesn't work the same, where everything is dreamy and symbolic, and where questions are posed in a very open way. Uh, a lot of philosophy in it. So the game has this kind of surprise. You have these surprise scenes where you see another part of Silent Lake that isn't the way you envisioned before, and these more strange scenes are portrayed by the director. So in order for that to work, you still need a director, and even in the more normal scenes per se, where the director is more reacting, it's still an
Mm-hmm.
important job because the director chooses the order of the game, makes sure that every player has the same number of turns, because what's emphasized in Silent Lake is solo scenes. Sometimes you have the collab of other player, but Silent Lake is designed for one or two players.
Mm-hmm.
It can hold 3 4 players. It can, but it's not the same thing. It's not its strongest. It works best with one or two. It's very intimate, very focused. It's not something for a party, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Having that said, I'm thinking about a stretch goal, but now I'll keep it a stretch goal for solo play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where you have still have the mystery, but everything around it becomes more intimate. So the crime remains an engine of the experience, but it functions more like a MacGuffin, an invitation than a puzzle to be optimized. And without other players, without a direct, the descent into melancholy, obsession, beautiful darkness becomes like quieter, slower, more personal. And the investigation still matters, but it primarily exists to draw the player deeper in the town's emotional gravity, into its silences and repetitions and this quiet and settling beauty.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also worth noting that Solo Play is currently envisioned as a stretch goal and not part of the core book.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I would like to see unlocked by the backers. It's a way for the community to signal how much they want to this solitary descent to become an official part of Silent Lake. So
Mm-hmm.
and then for that, of course, I'll create some kind of mechanics to support a director-less experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something within the lines maybe of tables, of drawing cards, consulting tables, like an oracle. I call oracle to the deck of cards
Mm-hmm.
actually. But the standard game is supposed to have a director, because of that, not to keep things under in tracks, and also to run these surprise scenes, these scenes that are not the normal scenes where the players are in control.
Mm-hmm. Which I could most certainly see that. Now, when it comes to the You mentioned that you have a mix of campaign and scenario. I am
Mhm.
curious within that setup if you have some advice for GMs on how to structure the different types of scenes, given that
Mhm.
guidance is going to be a big
Sure.
damn deal for a game that's this specific.
And I agree with you.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's the main game that we're talking about, and there's also the scenarios. The scenarios are more straightforward scenarios, more similar to traditional RPGs in the sense that there's a story, there's a scene that has a sequence. Of course, there are you choose some places to visit in the scenarios, but they're more like specific structure, and they give a lot of support and are easier to run. Uh, but in the main game, since you're kind of reacting to your players, what your players do, um, you must know how to run it and without without stumbling on your own words and feet. So you have four kinds of scenes. Any scene fits in one of these four kinds. So they are coded. Okay. You have scenes, violent scenes, dialogues, and moxie. So
Hmm.
moxie is like stealth approach. It's the only type of scene that you don't interact with an NPC. It's when you infiltrate a house, you search for the VHS from Deirdre's summer vacation to see if you pick any clue, where you hide inside in a wardrobe and listen to a conversation. So it's everything that doesn't require a direct interaction with an NPC, but you run the risk of being caught. And when you're caught at the wrong time, at the wrong place. You're not supposed to be there and searching. And the person who finds you, um, it's usually drawn randomly or fitting to the scene. And the more closer that person is to you, the more it will hurt you.
Hmm.
And this is the only kind of scene where you don't interact with anyone.
Hmm.
And then you have dialogues. Dialogues are like a standard scene. It's the least powerful scene
Hmm.
in terms of risk and in terms of gains of what you get from that scene.
Hmm.
I must say,
Yep.
every scene can grant you a lead, or at least know that person is an innocent. Every
Hmm.
single scene can give you this, but some of the scenes have higher risks and higher rewards. So
Hmm.
the Moxie has some risks and some rewards. The dialogue scenes are easier, the easier ones, and are the only ones when you can try twice.
Hmm.
Any other scene, you have one try, and if you fail, you fail. But dialogue has this funny mechanic where if you fail, you come up with a memory, and you share this memory with the NPC,
Hmm.
and then this memory is evaluated. It can be more grounded into sadness, nostalgia, sweetness, or me more resentful. Okay,
Hmm.
be more vengeful, be more, something more more dark, and then it influences the rewards you get at the end of the scene, this
Hmm.
exchange of memories, and then you try again.
Yeah.
So this gives you a sense of structure. You know that you have this NPC, and the player will be interacting with NPC. You know that if they fail, it's in the rules. Okay,
Hmm.
now they share memory, and I give advice of kind of memories that NPC can have to share. So it's a good way for you to portray that NPC, because actually failing in dialogues gives these opportunities. But also it gives you inspiration to use in real life. other interactions with that NPC. As for the violence and the sex scenes, so they're tied to your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You have four kinds of relationships. You have love, hate, like, and dislike.
Mm-hmm.
And you can dialogue with any suspect,
Mm-hmm.
even the ones you hate. You can dialogue with everyone. But when you dialogue with the people you like or one of your lovers, when you dialogue with them, they offer you a stuff. A stuff is like an item that may heal you of a condition, a specific condition. They give you one at the start of the scene
Mm-hmm.
just because they like you. And but when they dislike you, they don't give you jack. They don't give you anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when they hate you, if you fail the scene, you don't. The second chance is a violence, mandatory violence. You're talking with someone who hates you.
Yep.
If that a person doesn't is disliked, they won't fight you, of course. But it's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to get an information from that person. But if they hate you, they'll fight you. Of course, if you win the fight, you get the information you want.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lose, you lose hard. And
Right.
you can only engage in violence with people you hate. You don't engage in violence with people you dislike or people you love. You just have violence with people you hate. Conversely, you just have sex scenes with people you love, your lovers. And you can also escalate. You can start a scene dialogue with one of your lovers. You fail the first time, and the second time, if it's one of lovers, you can choose to, okay, I'll try again dialogue, or I escalate to sex. So
Mm-hmm.
you have this option. When it's an enemy, someone you hate, you don't get to choose. If you fail, it is a mandatory violence scene.
Mm-hmm.
So they're triggered. They have these connections, and the director, since the director knows they're tied like that. I'll have this scene with the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hate him, but I'll try to talk him anyway. So the director knows, okay, this is a tough dialogue scene, and it might escalate to violence. So you already know that a potential fight will come up because there's these outcomes. Either the player gets the info she wants, or it will escalate to a fight, for
Mm-hmm.
instance. So there are a lot of they're very connected to these scene types that could be in other game could be codified into moves. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like a move. But I call scene types because they dictate the kind of scene you'll have.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this helped to answer
Oh yeah. Yeah.
what you
I can
asked. Okay.
certainly. I can certainly get that. Now, with all that said, I believe you guys are going to be going through Backer Kit in about, I believe, 3 months. It's according to the Backer Kit is the time we stream this. It says 77 days,
Yes. Yes.
so a couple months and change. Uh, are you planning on
Hmm.
running the crowdfund for about 30 days?
Yes.
Right.
30 days. We'll be releasing some live plays along the line. I think people need
Mm-hmm.
to see the game being played in order to be convinced. Because there are a lot of people curious about the game, how the game plays out, because they know the team is very uncommon, it's very specific, but but I think it's highly thematic as well. And they were already fascinated with it, even if it used like a normal system, a system like something like powered by the apocalypse or something that they would usually relate. But when they know, oh, it uses cards, they get like they can put like a label on it, and they feel very intrigued. And so we'll be doing these live plays and posts on our YouTube channel, and because I think people need to see it being played. Of course, it won't be like the whole core experience to keep it, small, a small video, and actually to not spoil anything from the main game.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been writing a couple of scenarios, very short scenarios that have like 3 to 6 scenes, just you to learn the mechanics and how they intertwine, how they connect with each other, and the mood. And I think it helps a lot people to decide to, oh, this game is good for me. I like it. But and of course, I'm being honest here. I don't want to promise a game that for something that it isn't. Okay, so I think it's only fair people watch the how the game plays, and there's a lot of there's this follower reward. If you follow the project now before
Mm-hmm.
it starts, you get access to Dusk's Embrace. That is like a demo of sorts. It actually acts as a short prequel to Silent Lake.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you, it can play on its own, and it's fine as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you connect in the same continuum, you get hyped to play Silent Lake. And even if you do another character in Silent Lake, you might find your previous character as an NPC because that character exists from the cast of Silent Lake. It's just, of course, you have fewer options. Instead of 24 archetypes, you have just four, but it's fine. It's a demo. And I work hard on it to give something meaningful, satisfactory on its own, even if you don't you're not interested in the full game. At least the demo in itself is satisfactory as it is. It gives at least gives you an honest display of what the game looks like, even in a shorter version, even in a not so wide player freedom. Of course, it's more streamlined, more constrained, of course, because it is a demo. And there's also this early bird bonus that I've called Miss Eagle herself. This one is very, very, very inspired in Mare of Easttown. It takes place 17 years before Silent Lake, so
Mm-hmm.
players might enjoy playing it and seeing it as another prequel to Silent Lake. It has a lot of 30 something uh, years old
Mm-hmm.
characters in Silent Lake in their 17-year old version. So a lot of, especially women. So you have this basketball team, female basketball team of teenagers, and there's a lot of mystery.
Mm-hmm.
They have these exams in school. They have this big game coming up. They have these guys hitting on them, and there's mystery. And this mystery might be connected to Dusk's Embrace, might be connected with Silent Lake as well. So um, if you play like these two scenarios and connect to Silent Lake, you might build like a small campaign around it. And I plan to release other small scenarios as well. So in order for you to, if you want to fit it in like a series, your imaginary series from the 90s, where you have these series connected. So there's the main game where the objective is to find a killer, and
Mm-hmm.
there's these episodes that happen in this small town.
Oh yeah, I can certainly get that, and I will be looking forward to seeing how that develops. But with all that said, I do want to sincerely thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come all the way to my monastery and enjoy the madness that happens here.
Oh, I love this fresh air you have here.
Yep.
And I want to thank you as well for receiving me and have all these questions to make people think about my game and maybe have some insight of it. And most people take for granted that games are somewhat based of something they've already seen, and not always. It's not always the case. Sometimes the games might develop or evolve into a different ways. They're not really. It's not really required to take inspiration in other TTRPGs, like we discussed earlier. You might take inspiration in other media, and it's equally valid as long as you're honest about what you're doing in your game and try your best to provide the best experience of the theme you're trying to explore. So I'm
Mhm.
grateful for your insight and your questions as well.
Oh, yeah. And of course, anytime you see fit to return, the door is always open. As I often say around here, drinking is not mandatory, but it is encouraged.
Okay, I think when once we will have like in a later stage, maybe with if we get successful with already with the book and everything, I think it will be nice for you to review it in a different lens with a more composed product. I
Mm-hmm.
was just curious before we finished. I don't not trying to abuse from you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on it? What's your opinion or your insight of the project? What interest in it? What made you think about it?
Um,
What's your take on it?
Now, obviously, I will always be biased in favor of more games to use playing card mechanics. That but for me personally, as somebody who grew up with a lot of mystery fiction and a lot of mystery fiction that leaned heavily in the Midwest area, um, especially with the likes of Dan, um, not Dan Davenport, Lucas Davenport, the protagonist of the Prey series, by that was kind of the closest thing I had to a pulp serial growing up. Uh, I very much get a lot of that energy through this, and I think what is interesting here is that there's a structure to more easily allow for mysteries without falling into a lot of the traps that happen when someone tries to do mysteries in a TTRPG, because it's easy for the web of relationship to become sprawling and look less like a web and more like a tumbleweed. But that's not really an issue that happens here because the whole thing is restraint doesn't feel like the right word, but it's the closest thing I can think of where everything has a purpose, and that focus is what really helps here.
Thank you. I think it was very insightful. It is actually that focus helps a lot. Actually, it solves a lot
Mm-hmm.
of problems and since it's not promised for the director to make sure that everything fits and everything makes sense. It's not a burden to the director to carry. You play to find out,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you had this insight of the game about the structure. It's actually meant to 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 add to transparency for the game. So you don't know how it will evolve. You don't know the whole plot, and in that sense, the plot is kind of irrelevant. Moments are everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more like this. But the structure is honest. You know that you have this number of turns. You know that you have these scenes. You know if the scene is night, if it is day, and it will impact in the way the game plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can get that. And of course, a sincere thanks goes out to everyone who took the time out of their schedule to come onto the show and enjoy the madness. And there will be plenty more where that came from, as there always is here, on the open bar of the internet. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.